Welcome to another training episode of this portion, baby. I hope your week has been amazing. My babies are telling you hi. I hope you are keeping safe. Do not forget your mental health is a priority. This week we are talking about the significance or the essence of kindness. I know this is something a lot of us here or a lot of us practice, but I think it's still something we need to talk about, and I have a guest. Yes, I have a guest. It has been quite a while since I had a guest on the show, but yay, today we have a guest and she's going to share her opinion on kindness. If this is your first time listening, thank you so very much. And if you are a regular, thank you for the encouragement, thank you for the support. It's because of you I keep doing this. If not, well, Never forget to like, subscribe, and share. Subscribe, like, and share. Subscribe, like, and share. Please. Okay, follow me on all my social media handles. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram. You can find me on Telegram. Send me a message anytime, any day. And if you're listening, if you're watching alone, baby, you were doing it wrong. Like, it's so wrong. It's so wrong. Tell your friends, tell your lovers, tell your family, tell everybody, somebody to listen to the podcast. Go nowhere, babies. We'll be back in a few. Topic: the essence or the significance of kindness. And you can see our guest, Orly. Thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored and excited to be here.
That's nice. Okay, so tell us about yourself.
Okay, so I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. Grew up there my whole life. I'm currently right now living in Jerusalem, living in Israel. It's been an incredible move, which I really very much enjoy. I started off my career as a middle school educator. I was teaching 7th and 8th grade for 7 incredible life-changing years. I loved every second of it. And about 10 years ago, I decided to take a leap of faith and to leave my job teaching. Again, it was supposed to be just for the year. To really pursue a dream I had in my heart ever since I was a kid. It wasn't a dream per se of starting a nonprofit organization, but it was a dream of bringing people together through the power of kindness and empowering people to recognize just how awesome they are. And that's really been my dream ever since I could remember, as a little kid who dreamed of changing the world and bringing people together. And so I took that leap of faith, and I have to give a big testament to my students, because during my time teaching, during my 7 years teaching, the concepts of kindness, compassion, empathy, these were concepts I was incorporating into my classroom on a daily basis. And my students would constantly say, you have to share this message with the world. You got to get out and share it with the world. And I said, okay, I'm going to do that. And so I told the school I would be taking a year off. And it started with a short film I did called Kindness Boomerang. A short music video showing an act of kindness as it goes from one person to the next, the energy that it has to just magically be able to not only transform somebody, but to move in such a seamless way. I had a background in film production, but it had been 7 years since I had done film. And in my summer off from teaching, said, okay, I want to be able to showcase, to share with people that ability, that power of kindness. And so I created this film, and I was super nervous doing it. Almost everybody that I knew was discouraging me, telling me, Orly, what are you doing? Why are you investing all your money into this? Who do you think it's going to impact? What do you think you're doing? But I felt that it was a calling. And so I created the film, then left my job teaching, put the film online. I started the nonprofit, put the film online, and within a few months, the film went crazy viral, reached well over 100 million people globally. And
wow.
Continues to go through these spurts of virility. And it's what landed me a spot to speak at TED about the power of kindness back in 2013. And so from there, the organization called Life Vest Inside began. And Life Vest Inside, it's a nonprofit, and basically the mission of it is to inspire, empower, and educate people of all backgrounds to lead a life of kindness. But the essence, the core of the message isn't kindness, is really empowerment. Kindness is the tool that will get people to where I really want to bring, is the empowerment, which is the essence. To empower people to recognize their value, that they're unique, that they're significant, and that even though they might be 1 in 8 billion people, the number that matters most is that they're one, and that we each have something that we can contribute into this world. And one of the greatest ways to empower a person to recognize their value and that they matter is kindness. Because if you think about it, right? Think about an act of kindness that you've done for somebody. The likelihood is you've done one today. Okay. Think about an act of kindness that you've done. Now, why does it make us feel so good when we are engaging in acts of kindness or act of giving? Because in that moment of giving, we come to be validated for the right reasons. It's not about what society tells us that should validate us. Doesn't matter how much money you have in your bank or how fast you are, how pretty you are, how famous you are, how many people like your Instagram picture. Those things present a fake sense of happiness. The only person that could truly give you happiness is you, that sense of fulfillment. And when you engage in kindness, the reason you feel so good is because in that moment, you realize, wow, I didn't have to be anybody else. I just had to be me. And I brought happiness to another person. I just brought a smile to another person's face. And the more that a person comes to understand their value and truly embrace who they are, regardless of the mistakes they make, the more they're able to embrace others for who they are. It is my belief that unkindness exists in the world, and not because people aren't good. I believe actually that people are really good. We inherently have so much good within us, but doing kindness for others, right? Doing an act is easy. The hardest is for ourselves. I believe that the core base of why unkindness exists is because we've forgotten to truly love ourselves and accept ourselves and believe that we are in fact enough. And only once you truly recognize that you matter can then you look at other people and realize, wow, that person also matters. But if you don't understand that you matter, how are you going to believe that another person matters? How are you going to be able to bet on them if you don't even bet on yourself?
Okay.
So, yeah. So, I mean, so Life Essence Side, I mean, this is what I've been doing for the past 10 years. It's been an incredible journey. I mean, we have events in over 50 countries around the world, 120 cities, leadership training programs, educational curriculums, you know, our incredible Project Hope Exchange platform that allows people to exchange messages of hope with one another. And it's really an organization of the people. It exists because people want it to exist. I'm a full-time volunteer, and we have such incredible people from around the world, from different races, religions, ethnicities, cultures, backgrounds, showing that regardless of our differences, kindness is the common thread that unites us all. That is something that we can all get behind. That is something that we all believe in, because we're meant to be different. We're meant to be different. We're meant to think different, look different. Each of us have a different fingerprint. It's not just happenstance. We have different thoughts and ideologies. And the biggest problem and the danger is that when we think that, okay, we all need to think the same, that's never going to happen. We're not meant to think the same. We're different. But we have to be able to embrace others for who they are. The only way we can do that is if we first embrace ourselves for who we are and be secure in our own beliefs. Because if we're not secure in our beliefs, what does a person that's insecure in their beliefs do? They're so fearful that another person's thoughts and ideologies will influence them that what do? They shove their thoughts and ideologies down another person's throat. But if you're secure, now you can embrace everybody, even if they have a complete different thought process than you, because you understand that just as you are an individual, they are an individual. I can't change another person. All I can do is embrace them and lead the best version, live a life that is the best version of myself to impact others for the good. That's all that we have the ability to do.
Ollie, you know, when you reached out to me, you said something, a statement you wrote. You were like, you love people. And the first thing that popped into my head was, she hasn't met people. She hasn't, I'm not sure. For you to just say you love people, like regardless of everything. And that makes me wonder, kindness, is it something we are born with, or it's something we have to learn over time?
That's a great
question. Your journey so far, did you learn it, or it just came up?
It's a great question. And I think it's a little bit of both. And I'll explain to you what I mean by that. Meaning, ever since I'm a kid, ever since I'm 4 years old, my earliest memories were of wanting to bring the world together. Okay, one of my favorite songs growing up as a little kid was Heal the World by Michael Jackson. I love that song very, very, very much. And I very much felt in my bones. I felt pain that other people felt. I felt pain when I would see animosity or war or people, going against one another, I felt that pain. And I believed in my heart that I was meant to do something to bring people together. So that was very much a part of me. I think that a lot of it also comes potentially from your surroundings. My father is like, he's such a positive, powerful force in my life. And I believe that's definitely had an influence on me. And so it was very much a part of me, but it's also something that you have to work on and grow into. What do I mean by that? I mean, in terms of being able to, let's say you said the comment, I said, I love people. Growing up, I grew up in a very close community, okay? I'm from a Jewish community, an Orthodox Jewish community in Brooklyn, okay? Modern Orthodox Jewish community, where that's where you're growing up. You don't really know, you're not knowing other people. I mean, yeah, of course, you're meeting other people, you're seeing other people in the street in different places and different people, but you're not really engaging or interacting. So for me, I feel like personally myself, I went through, in a sense, like this transformation. So it's always been, kindness is something I've always loved, and it's always been a part of me. I've learned it more in my life, and I'll sort of explain how this connects. I've learned it more in my life going through hardships of my own, because in my adolescent years, when I was 15, I went through a very severe depression, after there was a fire in my house. And overnight, my family lost everything, absolutely everything. I mean, we were okay physically. I'm one of 5 siblings, but my family was moving around for 6 years until we lived under the same roof. And that first year was the hardest. I mean, not only did we lose our home and our memories, my dad had lost his business, and it was like this spiral effect of negativity happening. And I was spiraling downward with it, trying to keep positive. I always have a positive energy, but when you see your family break down, when you see your parents break down, when it does something to you that I don't know how to explain. And I kept my emotions from everybody, from my family, from my friends, until one day I went to sleep and I just sort of didn't wake up the next morning. And I fell into a state of very dark depression. When I say dark, I mean suicidal dark. I was angry at everybody, okay? The whole world. I was angry at my family, my friends. I was angry at God. I was just angry. And because when I was home from school those few months, I was a very shy kid growing up, okay? I wouldn't be talking like I was super shy. But I was home from school for a few months. I was the kind of kid, if you were absent from school, okay, I would take notes for you and bring it to you the next day. Whether I knew you, didn't know you, whether we were hanging in the same crew or not, I was home from school for several months, and not one person came to visit. Not one person called to see if I was okay. And that made me feel like if I wasn't here tomorrow, would it make a difference to anybody? I mean, would it really matter? And it felt like the answer was no. And that hurt me more than anything. And I wanted to give up on everything. I was forced after several months to go back to school, but I wasn't the same kid. I was this kid sitting in the corner, super morbid. I let everything drop. I didn't care. I didn't want to connect with anybody. I didn't want to smile about anything. And one morning, as I was getting ready to go to school, I was in the bathroom, I was washing up. I was looking at myself in the mirror, and the scariest thing happened. I didn't see me. I didn't see that, 4-year-old Orly that dreamed of changing the world looking back at me. It was like, she was gone. It was like someone took her. And to be honest, that scared me more than anything. And it was in that moment, 15 years old, that I made a promise to myself. And it's a promise that led me to teaching, that led me to the organization, to Life Essence Inside. It's a promise that wakes me up till today. And it's a promise to be there for people the way I wish somebody would have been there for me. And to see people the way I wish somebody would have seen me. Because at the end of the day, that's really all we want, is to be able to be seen. But you see, what I didn't realize when I made that promise, and I learned it over the next couple of years, is that until I see myself, until I love myself, until I'm kind to myself, no one will be able to see me in that way. And those next couple of years of high school, I was sort of walking alone. But it gave me a chance to do something that we don't even get to do as adults. It gave me the chance to fall in love with me for me. And when I did that, I found my voice, that 4-year-old voice that was stuck inside of me that couldn't get out because I was so shy, suddenly came out. And in my senior year of high school, when I was on a seminar with the kids from my grade, the teacher, we were sitting in a circle, the teacher was talking about obstacles. And I did something I never would have done before. I raised my hand. I was this shy kid, never wanted to share anything. I was so shy. And these kids that used to be so super intimidated from, oh, they're in that crew, they're in the cool crew. These kids were coming to me afterwards and asking me for advice. And what I found is that the more I gave, the more I healed. The more I gave, the more I healed. And I realized that there was two kinds of giving. And that even though I'd always been a giver, I'd always loved to give to people, that my giving up until that point was coming from a place of weakness. It wasn't coming from a place of abundance. It wasn't coming from a place of strength. Because when you give from weakness, it can feel like sacrifice. You feel depleted. Maybe you're doing it because you want to be accepted. Maybe you're doing it because you want to impress somebody. But when you're giving from a place of abundance, it means that you are whole with who you are. You understand your value. And therefore, when you're giving, it's like a candle that gives light to many other candles. It still retains its flame. It does not lose its flame. And at that point, that's when things clicked. And I recognized and understood the power of kindness in an even different way. It was definitely a part of me. Growing up, it was a part of me. But I understood it in a different way. And it was once I came to truly love me for me, to look at myself in the mirror and to understand, yes, I have flaws. Yes, I have mistakes. But my mistakes don't need to be who I am. I can work on myself. That then suddenly, when I went on to college, and now in college was my first real experience connecting with people that are completely different than me, that have different thoughts, that look different, that have different ideologies, different religion. And you know what? I was able, my sense of love for people increased so much. I was able to embrace them for who they are. People tell me, Orly, how do you keep your traditional, even faith-wise, how do you keep your traditional faith or your ideologies, even though you're connecting with people that have all these different thoughts? I said, because, you know why? Because I'm okay with who I am. Because I'm secure enough with who I am that what does it matter if I connect with a person that believes this or that or the other thing? What does it matter?
Change you. Yeah.
And that, to me, is key. And that's a transformation. I think that that's something that we have to learn, because growing to have self-value isn't something that is instant. It is not something we're born with. It's not even something that we can obtain. It's something that we need to maintain. You can really grow in self-confidence. Does that mean you're going to be confident for the rest of your life? No, it doesn't. Because I tell you something, every person has ups and downs. Even the person that you might look up to, that's like that star, that, wow, they got their act together. I promise you that person has days when they're crying in bed, days when they're questioning their value. There's no such thing. This isn't like a video game. You beat it and you're good to go. This is life. It's like ups and downs, and it's a constant thing. And that is where I think that we need to work on as a people. Because if you look at what's happening right now in the world, all over the world, we have forgotten how to have dialogue. We forgot.
Because it's been replaced to other things. The time you spend talking to someone, we either spend it on our phones. Majority of the time we spend it on our phones. So it's actually connect with somebody else, to actually talk to somebody else. It's hard.
But not only that, on top of that, talking to somebody that doesn't believe what you believe. We forgot how to do that.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Right? It's frustrating, yeah.
Imagine, right? Even you could, whether you want to look at it in terms of politics, of voting, of this, right? Somebody, I voted this, they voted this, oh, we voted differently, I'm unfriending you. What kind of ridiculous, what kind of a world did we come into? What happened here? Since when do we all need to think the same? Since when do we all need to have the same ideologies or viewpoints? Why? How is that even possible? It's not even actually possible. What makes a picture beautiful isn't if it's all drawn with the same color. It's all of the different colors, all of the hints, the hues, the different shades. Where we tend to not connect or close ourselves off from connecting with people that are not going to just be agreeing with us. It's okay to have an argument. It's okay to be, to have a different viewpoint. That's fine. Have it. But have the dialogue in a respectful way. Say what you think, hear what another person says, and at the end of the day, be able to say, okay, we don't think the same. That's okay. I love you anyway. I love you anyway. You know why I love you? Because I'm able to love me. That's why I love you. And that's when I say I fall in love with people more and more each day, is because through this organization, through Life Vest Inside, I've met people from all different places around the world. I mean, we have people from over 100 countries around the world, okay, that have connected with us in all different various ways. And all I did is I love to have dialogue with them. I just want to talk to them. And why does it work? Because everyone is welcome here. I'm not trying to make you believe this, and you're not trying. I want to respect you for who you are. You're going to respect me for who I am. And maybe we're going to have a different viewpoint at the end, but that's cool. That to me is, I think, where we need to be working as a people. We forgot how to do it. We forgot how to do it.
Yeah, I think that is okay. I'd say I am guilty of that, especially the loving yourself parts and having that security in yourself, having the assurance that you're enough. It's I like working with like minds and put it like that. We agree. When there's a disagreement, it's no. I don't want the stress of having to convince you. I'm on this side, be on that side.
And by the way, that's exactly the thing. You know, it's funny. People ask me, you know, when the video went crazy viral, and even until today, you know, I get different comments back. People ask me, you know, what are your favorite comments to respond to? Like, or they're like, what if you get a really negative comment? I'm like, I love those comments the most. I love those negative. Now they hurt. Sometimes they really hurt. I'm a person. I'm a human being. It hurts. Okay, but why do I love those negative comments the most? Because first of all, number one, I know that if somebody's attacking, it's only coming from something that's within them, right? That negativity is coming something within them. So yeah. I'm not approaching them to try to convince them that I'm right. And the idea is, the problem is that the reason we don't want to have conversations with people that think differently than us is because we think that the purpose of the conversation is that at the end, they're going to come over to our side. But dialogue has nothing to do with coming over to anybody's side. It's having to do with trying to understand the perspective of another person, because we all see things differently. I'm going to give you a perfect example. You remember a couple of years ago, there was that crazy thing that went viral about it was like an audio message that some people heard Yanni and some people heard Oral. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then there was also like the shoe that was, some people saw a green line, some people saw pink, right? Yeah. This is a perfect example, okay? This is the same picture. It's the same audio. I'm hearing it, you're hearing it. We're both hearing different things. What's the point of me trying to convince you? No, but it's not. It's really Yanni. No, it's really low. What kind of a stupid conversation? We both hear, but this is a perfect example. I love that because it showed no one is right or wrong here. There's a different perspective. Even something as simple as something that you hear, how could you even, it's the same thing. We each have a different perception because we've each gone through life in different ways. We've each had different experiences. And it's about sharing your perspective, right? And telling the person, I understand, it's okay if you still want to see it in your perspective, but I want to share with you another perspective. Because generally things are never one way or the other. There's somewhere in between. And it doesn't mean you need to change your ideology. Oh my God, now they're going to make me believe differently. But it allows you to be just more accepting of people. Okay, you know what? That's how they see it. I can't change it. You know what I'm saying? I had a conversation with somebody. Okay, I've never shared this story, by the way. All right, but I'm going to tell you this story.
All right.
It's online, and I told you I moved to Jerusalem. Okay, I'm living in the city of Jerusalem. Now, I happen to be Jewish. I have lots of Muslim friends, Christian friends, atheists, Buddhists, all over the spectrum. And this one guy that messaged me on Facebook was telling me, so where do you live? So I said specifically, okay? And some people will catch why I do that. I said, I'm living in Jerusalem. He said, no. Which country are you living in? So I said to him, now I knew what he wanted me to say. Because if I said Israel, I knew he was going to get upset. Why am I calling it Israel? Why am I not calling it, why is it not Palestine? Now I said to him, I said, look, I understand what you're wanting me to answer. I said, but my perception, just because my perception is different than your perception, because I was asking him about joining me to be part of this amazing worldwide dance event that we had, and for him to represent people in his city. Okay. So I said, just because my perception and your perception of what we call this place is different, does that mean that we shouldn't join together to try to bring kindness into the world? He was living in Gaza, okay, and I'm living in Jerusalem. So he asked me, where you live? So I said, Jerusalem. He says, well, why can't you tell me? I want you. I said, why am I going to say something? If I'm going to say Israel, you're just going to get upset, right?
Yeah.
And I said, but what does it matter? So it's my perception of where I am. You have a perception of where you are. I'm not against what you believe. So you've believed it. And I know what he said. He said, you know what? You're right. He said, you're right. We ended up having an event, by the way, simultaneously, both in Jerusalem and in Gaza, just to mention, which was pretty incredible. But what is it? What is a purpose? So what I'm trying to say is we have to be able to be okay sometimes with the fact that, listen, we have different perceptions.
Yeah.
But why to hate? Who wants to be in war? Like, who doesn't want peace? Who doesn't want to just live and just and be okay and be happy? Yeah. It's so much more effort to hate. It's like so much more effort. So much harder. You know, now again, it requires us to also, in many different cases, to put aside pain of the past, and that's very difficult. That's where difficulty comes into place. You know, in order for things in this world to move forward, in whichever way it is, to move to a better world, sometimes you need to let go of the past. I'm not saying to forget the past. You need to let go in order to be able to move forward. Because if you're constantly living in a mindset of the past, of what was,
you keep being stuck.
You're stuck. Yeah. And you can't advance. You can't. So, again, and this could be in any situation, in any topic that you bring up where there's controversy. I say, don't avoid the controversy. Bring it up and hear the perspectives and figure out how, at the end of the day, I don't think anybody in this world doesn't want to live a happy life. I don't think so. Maybe there's some crazy people that don't want to live a happy life. Okay, it's a different story. But I think majority people want to be happy. They want to be happy. They want their family safe. They want to be healthy. They want to live. They want to live. So let's live. Let's live.
Oh, that makes like a whole lot of sense. Because the thing is, when you are talking right now, I actually realized this. We don't, in as much as we don't want the controversies, like people from a different side, but do you know how interested people get at debates? Like everybody is looking forward to a debate. Yes, they are opposite sides, but the reality of it is we actually don't want an opposite side, but we so love that. Oh yes, this person is bringing your view and I'm bringing my view, and yes, who's going to win? But in real life, even when it's down to choosing partners, we are like, no, we don't want different people. We want like minds, someone that is just like me. But the reality of the truth is we are different people. We see things differently. I can see a figure as 6 and you can see it as 9. It's not wrong, but we look. Okay, yes, there's a saying, we see but look differently, or we look but see differently. Yeah, we can see the same thing, but it's different in our head. And something stood out when you were saying the story of when you were a kid, how you used to check on people, and when the fire your house and no one came over, and that's really sad. Like, it's honestly, I know I would feel bad and I won't talk to anybody again. I'll probably change schools, honestly. But the thing is, I think that's where unkindness comes in, and the fact that you had that power to step out and still realize it before it was too late, that this is eating you up. But that is part of the reason a lot of us, I think everybody has that atom of kindness in them, but situations that we find ourselves in makes us switch. In a sense, okay, I consider myself a giver, or I'm always there for people. And I had this friend of mine, and we're really close, but I felt I was giving in more than I was receiving. And I felt like it went on for a very long time. At the beginning, I didn't have an issue with it, but it like came more, and I'm like, no, I don't want this. So it made my attitude change. So the thing is, the issue is we expect so much from somebody, from people. My mom will always say, when you're doing good, do not expect anything in return.
100%.
Because that's where the issue comes in, when we start expecting and we don't get what we're
That's the
expecting.
depletion aspect, right? When you feel
Yeah.
depleted, that's not a good giving. When you're giving, it needs to feel like abundance, meaning you give as much as you can. And if it starts to feel like depletion, you need to stop giving outwardly and give to yourself. But when you put good into the world, you have to know, I'm giving this, I don't want to expect anything back. I'm going to give it. I'm putting it out.
But it's hard.
Of course it's hard.
Like, it's very hard. Like, even this podcast, I like to mention the podcast. You know, a lot of podcasters, yes, or a lot of content creators, it's just like you put in a lot of energy, a lot of power into creating content, and you're not getting the feedback you want, or you're loving somebody and you're not getting the love you want. As humans, we switch. That is just the truth. It is inevitable to switch. But where we become bigger persons is the ability to switch back. But the thing is, it's not easy.
Okay, but the thing is, the reason that sometimes happens and that unkindness sometimes exists is because, right, people lose trust and faith in society, right? They've been hurt, so they lose this trust and this faith in society. But the thing is, if you're going to do because you're trying to fill a void, that's not always a good way to give, right? Meaning, at the end of the day, the only person that can make you feel that sense of happiness and love is really yourself. Now, I agree with you, because we're human beings, we like that feedback, right? You want to say, you could talk about it with social media, right? You post something, if nobody responds to it, it feels like you were slighted, like, oh my God, we feel these ways. But what and again, it's not easy to flip ourselves. We have to understand and recognize, and again, I'm talking to myself just as much as anybody else, okay? When you put something out there into the world, you never know the ripples that it will have. Even if one person saw something that you did and it impacted them, you didn't only impact them. Because when you impact one person, that person can impact three people, those three people, and it's a crazy ripple effect. They say that when a person passes away, right, they're going to see in their bank of good deeds that they didn't even know that they even did, because they didn't actually do them. But because of good deeds that they did, other ripples of these good deeds were created. So we don't realize the goodness that we're doing, how it sometimes comes back to us. The Kindness Boomerang film, it shows an act going from one person to the next, and then it comes back to the person that started it. Not always in our life do we have a little nice, beautiful movie like that of how the act that we did or how the good that we did comes back to us. We don't always see that. We don't always see it. We don't have that, in a sense, that camera that we can then record. But we have to believe that us doing is not so that somebody is going to give us back. We're doing because we're giving it, again, from that place of abundance. It has to not feel like being depleted. If your giving feels like you're being depleted, then you aren't giving enough to yourself. You're expecting others to fill a void in you that only you can fill, because no other person can fill a void in you where there is a hole of wanting maybe that extra love, or that's why it's important, like when people get into a relationship, that they are first secure, that they are secure in who they are. Because if you expect to feel loved because someone is giving you that love, then the moment that person may not give you that love, you suddenly don't feel worthy enough. You don't feel like you're enough. That's dangerous. Why do people turn to drugs or to crime or become depressed? There's a hole, there is a void, and they're trying to fill a void in them with something external. But the only thing to fill that void is actually themselves. Engaging in doing good for others helps to fill that void. Again, giving from a positive place, because you're coming to recognize your inherent value. I just have to be me. I walk into a room and I can impact change. I don't have to have the greatest degrees or the most money or the most beautiful face or the most beautiful this or the best house or the nicest car to make a difference. I just need to be me. I can bring change into the world with who I am, with the energy that I give out, with the words that I say. This is, we're born like that, right? Here is what I have. This is all I have at the end of the day.
Yeah.
How am I going to use it? My words. How can they bring happiness into the world? My energy, right? You know how you sometimes you can feel energy of a person, and if somebody's in negative energy now, like it can affect you. You can also start to feel negative. Someone is in a positive energy can affect you. This is something that just emanates from us. Now, again, am I saying that it's easy? Am I saying that it's possible to always be positive? No, of course it's not. I get down. I have days where I'm down. I have days where I don't want to get out of bed, where I question my value, my worth. I still have those days. But it's about being able to get back up, push yourself, to make yourself realize you have to bet on yourself. For me, the way I believe it, I'm like, well, look, if I'm still here and I got air in my lungs, that means that there's a reason I'm here. There's something I'm meant to do. So we have to keep pushing, because sometimes the hardest experiences we go through in our life actually push us to tap into the best versions of ourselves, because it pushes us to tap into that extra oomph inside of us, to keep on going and to not expect anybody to fill that void. You need to fill it. You are worthy and you matter. And this is the biggest problem that people in today's that we're facing, is because, and again, I'm not going to bash digital media, because without it, you and I wouldn't be talking. Digital media is fantastic. It spreads a lot of positivity. But at the same time, because we have such easy access to look at the life of another through a screen, through a facade that a person puts up, at this is my life, you know, a beautifully crafted picture and a beautifully crafted this. No, who's showing when they're down and they're crying in their bed? No, people are not doing that. Right? So we think, how come I can't be like them? How come they're succeeding and I'm failing? We're constantly pointing, and as opposed to comparing ourselves to us, to not look at the facade of the pictures, to realize that everybody has insecurity. Everybody, even the biggest celebrity that you think has got it all going. This requires work. It requires us to work on ourselves. I would say probably the greatest pursuit that a person can spend their life doing, one thing, working on their character. That is the greatest thing that you can do. You know why? Because that's you working, you given this, you were given this. When you work on your character, you're working on the inside. It's the work of the heart. And the work of the heart is the hardest work. It is the hardest work. And if anything that COVID has taught us is that we need to stop doing the physical work, right? The busy work, the going, the coming. We need to stop. We need to look at ourselves in the mirror, which isn't easy, because sometimes we don't like the picture we see. It's much easier to work on other stuff. You know, I want to build this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to travel there. Suddenly we can't escape. We got to look at ourselves. But working on the heart, working on our character, on our values, on who we are as a person, is the greatest pursuit a person can put their time into. The greatest and the hardest. But it's one step at a time.
Yes. I thank you so very much. This has been amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes, guys, be there for people the way you want them, the way you wish they were there for you. Talk to people the way you wish they talk to you. Address people the way you wish they addressed you. You know, the golden rule says, do to others what you want them to do to you. Orly, thank you so very much. This has been amazing.
Thank you.
So how do we reach you? How do tell?
So, okay, well, you can reach me, first of all. I answer every email, even though it'll take me some time, but I do. You can always send me an email personally to Orly, ORLY @lifevestinside.com. Again, Life Vest Inside. The idea is that kindness keeps the world afloat like a life vest. You can learn more about the work that I'm doing by going to lifevestinside.com. I send out daily kindness emails. We have a monthly newsletter We have a monthly dance party where we join with people around the world to dance together, put out positive energy, and then engage in acts of kindness. So we have that every month. You can learn more about that at danceforkindness.com. And you can also check us out on our social media, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'd highly recommend YouTube. We have loads of incredible content there. We do constant video collaborations with people from around the world. If you want to learn how to get involved, you can email me. And I put out a weekly video called the Kindness Kickoff, where I share an act of kindness from my book. I have a book called Kindness Boomerang. You can check that book out on our website or on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's a lesson a day book in kindness for every day of the year, an act, a quote, and a short reflection, helping you to increase your awareness. Because when your awareness is increased to what kindness looks like, you can actually take advantage of the opportunity and engage in it. So those are some ways that you can get involved. And of course, like I said, you can reach out to me and I can share more ways that you can become a part of our kindness revolution or even create your very own.
Amazing. Thank you so very much. I was taking it. Okay, this has been amazing. Guys, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will talk to you next week, Wednesday. Bye, Ollie.